The film opens at an empty ballet recital, where 12-year-old Abigail is giving her performance. We then meet a young woman named Joey waiting for someone outside. She takes out a lollipop as she has alcohol problem. A car pulls up and picks her up. She is picked up by two men, Frank, the team leader, and Peter, the muscle man of the group. She takes out a box to reveal 2 syringes inside. We then see other 3 criminals waiting in a van. A hacker woman named Sammy disables all security cameras of someone's house, while the other man named Rickles sets up a sniping position. The other one is named Dean, and he is the getaway driver. After Abigail is done with her performance, she is picked up by a luxurious car, to which someone has placed a GPS tracker under it. Abigail is taken home to her mansion where she is being watched by the men in the van. The first 3 criminals gets into Abigail's room. Joey becomes reluctant when she sees it as a child, but Frank told her she can walk off if she doesn't want to do this, to which Joey decides to stay. The 3 hides and waits for Abigail to enter the room. Abigail enters the room while talking to someone on the phone. Peter wants to attack, to which Frank says no, as it is not the right moment. When he gets back to his position, he makes a creaking sound, to which Abigail hears. After she observed the room, she continues to talk to her phone. When she is done talking to her phone, the 3 criminals attack. Abigail manages to stab Frank in the hand with a pencil. Abigail tries to scream for help, but Peter holds her. Frank tries to hit her, to which Joey stops him. Joey injects her with drug, which makes Abigail pass out. They put her inside a bag and continues to move. Rickles told them her father is coming into the house and that they only have 10 seconds to get out. He requests permission to shoot, to which Frank says no. The 3 gets out as soon as the father gets into the house. Rickles join them and they make their way toward the gates. The house alarm goes off and the 4 begins running. Sammy hacks the door and opens it for them, to which Dean picks them up. Joey checks on Abigail's pulse, to which it is stable. They put on blindfold on her to avoid problems. Joey tends to Frank's wound, to which she tells him is not too bad. Sammy guides Dean to avoid cameras, but Dean, trying to impress Sammy, drives in the wrong way and avoids the cameras by hiding beside a truck. They make their way through the streets undetected before reaching another mansion outside of the city. The group meets their leader, Lambert. The goal is to hold Abigail for a $50 million ransom from her wealthy father and split it $7 million each after 24 hours. Lambert says they do not need to know who Abigail is or her father, as they only need to do their job. He tells them that Abigail only needs to hear Joey's voice. Lambert takes their phones and instructs them to not let Abigail see their faces before he leaves. The crooks gather for drinking and messing around. Frank, Peter, and Sammy each bet Joey money that she can't read them, but Joey correctly guesses that Frank is a former cop detective, Peter was an enforcer for the Quebec Mafia, and Sammy comes from money and does criminal activity for fun. Frank gets angry and he tells her that she is an alcoholic and that's why she takes those lollipops. He asks her if that is going to be a problem, to which she says no. Later, Joey goes to check on Abigail, who is very much scared. She tells Joey to take off her blindfold, to which Joey does after she puts on a mask. She ties Abigail's hands in front to make her more comfortable, and has a brief bonding moment with her. Joey mentions that she has a son, whom Abigail refers to as Justin since Joey won't say his real name. Joey promises her that she is not going to let anybody hurt her. Before Joey leaves, Abigail tells her she is sorry for what is going to happen to her. Joey goes to talk to Frank about how she is worried about this job. Frank shoves her away, saying that she gets scared by a 12-year-old girl. Joey tells him that she doesn't get scared easy, but when she do, she pays attention. Worried, Frank goes to Abigail's room where she sees his face. Frank quickly covers his face and points his gun at Abigail, demanding she tell him who her father is. Abigail says it is Christophe Lazar, which fills Frank with dread as Lazar is a notorious underworld criminal figure. Frank goes downstairs and quickly packs his things and starts to leave. The others asks him what's going on. He tells them that Abigail is Lazar's daughter, and they put themselves on death sentence for kidnapping his daughter. They freak out and decides to leave Abigail and disappear. But they soon change their mind as $7 million per person is a lot, and they can disappear forever with the money. They decide to set a perimeter and keep an eye out, and check the house if there is another entrance they don't know about. Dean attempts to hit on Sammy but is unsuccessful. He goes down into the basement and is dragged away by an unseen attacker. Sammy hears his scream and goes to investigate, then finds Dean's head fall off his body. The others find the corpse and begin to freak out. They notice that Dean's head was ripped by some kind of animal. Joey starts to suspect that Lazar's hitman known as Valdez might have got inside the house. In Frank's cop career, he ended up on a job against Lazar that got 4 of his teammates killed by someone they believe to be Valdez. Rickles finally had enough and decides to leave. He discovers that the exit is now barricaded, and soon all of the windows inside the house begins to shut and seals them inside. Joey and Rickles privately discuss the possibility that Frank is Valdez and is trying to take out the group on his own to get the ransom money. As they try to find a way out of the mansion, Rickles is mauled to death by the same attacker. Joey quickly goes to the others and points her gun at Frank and tells him that she knows he is Valdez. Frank also quickly points his gun at Joey. Frank then tells Peter they should just kill Abigail, but Joey steps in to stop him. They enter her room, where Abigail reveals herself to be a centuries-old vampire, and that she was always Valdez. She lunges at Peter and tries to bite into his neck before Frank shoots her in the head, but she quickly heals and gets up. The group runs out of the room and shuts the door. The group then starts trying to figure out how to deal with a vampire of this nature. They go for the basic tropes: garlic cloves, crosses, silver bullets, and stakes. They decide to head to Abigail's room and kill her, but Joey refuses to go with them as she believes their plan won't work. The three goes on anyway and try to ambush Abigail, who is dancing with Dean's corpse. Sammy's attempt to use garlic fails, and Abigail starts to beat her up. Abigail gets Peter's cross necklace and starts stabbing him with it. When Frank tries to stab her with his stick, she quickly disarms him and stabs him in the leg. The three retreat to Joey defeated. Joey tells them that there might be a way that works, but it only knocks her out for a few hours. She tells them that when she earlier uses the tranquilizer syringes on Abigail, she was knocked out for real. She tells them that they should look for her and knock her out. They split up and starts looking around the house. Sammy got jumped by a bat and accidentally falls into a pool of bodies of Abigail's previous victims. Meanwhile, Peter has been found by Abigail, who starts chasing him around the house. Peter informs the others that he has located Abigail. She then goes after Frank and starts to strangle him. Sammy attempts to get her off of Frank, but Abigail manages to bite her hand. Joey eventually manages to bring Abigail down by using the same tranquilizer they used on her when they were kidnapping her. They end up locking her in a cage. When Abigail wakes up, Frank tries to threaten her, but Abigail begins to read each of the group and gives their real names. Sammy's real name is Jessica, and she stole from her parents before running away. Peter's real name is Terrence, and she also brings up his past as a dumb brute for the mafia. Frank is named Adam, and he was actually working for Abigail's father before she killed them and left their mutilated bodies for Frank to find. Lastly, Joey is really named Ana Lucia, who was a former army medic before her morphine addiction caused her to accidentally nick an artery of a major crime figure, which is how Abigail and her father came to learn about her, and also what caused Joey to lose custody of her son. The others all had connections to Lazar and were specifically targeted by him and brought to Abigail as food by Lambert. Joey tells Abigail that she thinks Abigail is doing this for her father's love, though Abigail says that Lazar never loved her and that she also likes playing with her food. Frank is tasked with watching Abigail, but she ends up breaking out of her cage and tries to choke him. Joey breaks open the boarded windows to expose Abigail to sunlight, which actually does hurt her. The group splits up to find a way out, but Sammy's vampirism takes over and Abigail begins controlling her like a puppet. She ends up killing Peter and sucks his blood out. Before she can go for Joey and Frank, Joey reflects sunlight towards Sammy, causing her to explode into bloody chunks. Joey and Frank go looking for a way to disable the mansion's security, but they end up finding a control room with Lambert inside. He reveals that he is also a vampire and admits to having brought the criminals there to be fed to Abigail, and that there was never going to be any money. Lambert offers Frank a chance to join them by turning him into a vampire as well so they can take out Lazar and Abigail. Frank accepts and gets bitten, then stakes Lambert and blows him up moments later. Frank then goes after Joey and Abigail with the intention of taking over Lazar's empire. Abigail fights Frank, but he ends up drinking some of her blood, which makes him stronger. Frank then bites Joey and intends to turn her as well, but she resists his attempts to control her. Abigail tells Joey that she can be freed by killing the vampire that bit her, so they work together to overpower Frank and stake him, causing him to burst and quickly curing Joey. Night falls, and Joey prepares to leave, until she comes face to face with Lazar himself. He tells Joey that he has gone by many names. He prepares to kill Joey until Abigail steps in and tells Lazar that Joey helped save her from Frank. With this, Lazar and Abigail let Joey leave and go after her son, whom Abigail knows is named Caleb. Joey gets in a van and drives away to go find Caleb.